Just want to take these electrodes and place them on your temples like so. Damn, bro.
Let me start, and I mean this sincerely, this movie's fucking awesome. I'm so happy that the success that, you guys talk a little bit about the fact that you guys made this as like an indie, and then you go to Sundance, it's a huge, huge sale, and now it's going to be on Netflix everywhere.
Yeah, I think this just kind of surprised all of us in such a pleasant way. I mean, we were all in it because we loved the project, we loved Greg's vision, and we believed in it, and he had such an enthusiasm while making it that we were just like, this is infectious and fun, let's go. And then to see how far it's come, I remember like getting the call for Sundance. I don't know if you guys remember like where you were when he called and was like, we're going to Sundance. And then it was just like, wow, there's a great milestone. And then we went, and it was like, we showed the movie and we were like, what's gonna happen next? And then we got that call and it was another beautiful milestone. And now there's a billboard down the street and our faces are on it. I mean, it's pretty
It's really like the little engine that could.
Yeah, totally.
It's also a weird thing. I think with independent film, everything has to go right. And also you have to believe that the director has a clear vision. Because I think when you have so much money, you can get away with things, with visual effects and things. Whereas his mind, the fact that he's like edited, directed, written it, it's just like, it just has to go right. And so it's nice to be on the journey, but you don't expect something like this to come out of that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think also there was something to it that because it was so intimate and small, it meant that everyone really, like, it was almost like a theater school or like film school camp, like where you're kind of all in it together, you're wanting to make the best project, you're all really collaborating and like exploring this. So there's like a energy and that can't just come from like a big studio. You're all there for the same reason, is that you love it, you want it to be great, and like you're willing to put in all that extra effort. But you're right, like it's, I think everyone goes, sets out to make a great film, but it's not always the case, and you really do have to have all the pieces kind of align and come together. So we're lucky.
Well, the other thing is, I don't know if you've paid attention, but like there's a lot of movies that just play TIFF or Sundance and they don't get sold. Yeah. And then it's like, well, what happens to the movie? And it's just, I wish that more, anyway, that's a whole nother thing.
Of course.
So I'm sure you've been asked this, but I really want to know if this thing was real, would you actually do it? Or would you be like, get that thing away from me?
The latter.
Yeah.
I think so. I'm interested. I'm thought like it would be cool to swap once, but like if it was like a timer, if it was on a timer and like we had to swap back.
I was going to say, it depends what like like what are the constraints, what are the boundaries, exactly. What's the setting, what's the context? Like if it was certain, like I mean, there's versions where I could imagine myself wanting to do it. Yeah. But by and like I feel like if it could really go wrong.
Yes, very quickly.
I've seen this movie called It's What's Inside. And
it didn't go so well.
No.
Yeah. So maybe not.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, it's a no for me.
It's a no.
Yeah, it's a no for me. The more we talk about it, the more I want to say yes, but I think it's the idea of it.
Yeah, the idea of it sounds great.
So you guys see the shooting schedule in front of you. What day do you have circled in terms of I can't wait to film this? And what day is circled in terms of how the F are we going to film this?
Oh my gosh. Maybe some of the red light stuff. I didn't really know what that was going to entail. I didn't know like what it was going to look like on set, and I was nervous for like, was I going to do the whole scene? Like, trying to figure that out. Like I didn't understand.
That day was tricky logistics-wise, and I think there was a lot of moving, like literally we were all swapping in real time.
Yeah, changing costumes and also trying to figure out, if I have tattoos, do the tattoos transfer? Do my earrings transfer? Do my like things, I would get really technical and then get real confused. Yeah. But sorry.
I mean, you guys go.
I mean, yeah, it was a lot condensed into a short amount of time, So I feel like we were all just kind of I don't know, going day by day, moment to moment, and just, I don't know, it was kind of, everything kind of fell in that circle of, I can't wait to shoot this, and how are we going to shoot this?
Yeah, a little bit.
But we managed, thanks to the crew and cast, and
Yeah, I would say the most excited I was the first swap when we did the initial Brady Bunch kind of picture. I think that feeling was like, let's just get out of the way, because you kind of have to fail. Like we have to look silly, because that with this film, it's like it pushes you as an actor to like you need to attempt to fail rather than attempt to succeed. Like, and then I think that there was a scene that Alycia and I were in that we came on the day and we were like, we need to rewrite this. And that was the day I was a bit scared, but I was like, no, Greg trusts us.
Yeah.
And he went in the film and in the scene where Nikki and Ruben are talking. And so, and I think it worked out. So hopefully. So, yeah.
Well, the other thing about this is that not only are you as actors, it's a daunting role, but then there are many shots where there's groups of people who are all switched bodies and, everything has to be right in that thing. So talk a little, and you're making it on an indie schedule. So talk a little bit about what it's like as an actor knowing how much can possibly go wrong, but it seems like everything went right.
Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, though, it's also, this is sort of an actor's dream. To play multiple people in one film is really rare and very exciting, that you get to swap it out and kind of do an interpretation and feel the different energy in the same movie. So I think for a lot of us, we really did come prepared. Like all of us, we came prepared, really excited to do it. There was a lot of collaboration. But yeah, I think on an indie schedule, it definitely meant that we had to be sharp and on our toes. And I think, luckily though, because everyone was so generous and collaborative and there was not a lot of ego, that it meant everyone had that open dialogue and could help each other out. And I think if that wasn't the case, it probably wouldn't have been so successful.
Also, we're such different. We're all different kinds of actors as well, and within it too, it's like we all have different styles and things. So we all interpret the characters differently. So like, that's what was really exciting, is that you just give the character to someone else. You're like, you give a different version and it's going to make the character so much more rich and interesting. And I think there's moments to be big and then there's moments where the acting gets very small and then it keeps changing within the film. Yeah. And then I think it's really Greg. It's that mind. It's just wild. And I think he could have made so many different movies the way that he thinks. But I think he brought us all together to make something that we're all really excited to be a part of.
And talk about preparation. Like, he came storyboards. It was all laid out. It was tight. Like, we were on.
Because it's scary when you get a script like that can be so overwhelming and confusing at times because of how many moving parts there are. And it really felt like we were on set. And like, when we were on set, things were moving really smoothly. And that's a testament to Greg, to our DP, Kevin Fletcher.
This has nothing to do with, well, maybe the answer will be part of this movie. I don't know. So for all four of you, when you think back on your career and everything you've done, what shot or sequence has been the most challenging and why? Maybe it has to do with a oneer, a camera move, dialogue. Is there something in your career that you're like, this was fucking hard?
I had to film like a drowning scene in the resort. Spoilers. And that was really tough because I learned that I'm not very good in water and I'm very buoyant, so it's really hard for me to get under the water. And like the final shot, I was actually panicking because when you're like constricted and the set piece is going down, because instead of the water rising, the set's coming down on you and you have to you have a rope under you and you're about to be pulled under and you're terrified that and you're breathing heavily because you have to pretend that you're drowning, but your body starts to think that you're actually drowning. So when I did that afterwards, I had to go to my trailer and have a big cry, which was very nice. And then I went back and did a couple more shots.
Man, I don't know I know you were in a lot of blood for Fear the Walking Dead and stuff, so maybe you can relate to this. This isn't like insurmountable or anything, but like in Sabrina, there was a scene that Kieran and I had together. It was like a walk and talk outside, and it was like 4 a.m. or something, and we were covered in our fake blood was like molasses.
Yeah, it's sugar.
It's like syrupy and stuff, and it was like the mosquitoes were coming alive. And it's a pretty straightforward scene, but we were just getting bit to shit out there, man. And it was like cold, I don't know, late, and we're just I don't know. That was pretty gnarly.
I'll probably say I did a film where I played Barack Obama, and in the beginning of the film, the director a week before was like, we're just going to go American accent. And then luckily in my brain, I was preparing my, and I was like, the accent might need to be played. So I think opening my mouth for the first time in front of a cast and crew and doing it was very nerve-wracking. But I think that's the whole thing that makes it exciting about acting is like you think you can't do something and then you get into the groove of it and you're like, oh no, we can do this. And then by the time you do think that, it's then ending. So you're like,
So true.
You know what I mean?
Like
Great way to put
18
it.
straight days of night shoots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That was good.
Oh, I have so many.
I'm sure.
I mean, I think I've worked on so many. I mean, being on Fear the Walking Dead for a long time, like that is one of those shows that I don't think if you've worked on something like that, you have no concept of how physically, emotionally, mentally demanding those shows are. You are shooting in the elements, it's freezing cold or it's full summer, you are covered in this blood, you have to do all this stunt work. There's a lot of like weapons, there's a lot of then emotional stakes. There's like, I think that show like was a school that was like, and tested me at times. That was just like, this is really, really hard.
That's why you're such a badass now.
I'm like, ooh, toughen me up.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
So I think like I've had a lot like of practice on something like that. I mean, I've been like, I've also had things where I've, had to pretend to drown. I've also like had like, am I killing myself?
Yeah.
Am I like, we are like, now like learning how to like drive a boat and like weapons. Like there's a lot. So I feel like I can't really pick one.
It's also the fun part.
Fear the Walking
Dead. Fear the Walking Dead. That was mine.
Sure. I got to stop there. I'm just going to say, seriously, congrats on this. I really hope a shit ton of people watch.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We do too.
Have a great day.
much.